Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And this is going to be a response to a video. It was a stream that I was watching. I believe I was watching this, I think it was done yesterday or the day before, but I believe it was yesterday. The elder Apostle Ramlab was doing a video. I think it was entitled, if thou didst receive it, you know, something along those lines, but it was one of his more recent live streams. And in there, he made a point, you know, through the Spirit, concerning how you have individuals that in this knowledge, when the Spirit of the Lord is working and it's abounding, you know, you feel in the Spirit. All right. Hey, the water for letting me know. You know, I know sometimes the audio causes problems, but the water for letting me know. But he was saying that sometimes, you know, in the knowledge, the Spirit abounds, right? And you make certain good points, you know, you maybe the way you speak, you know, you connect the point here and there, you know, for certain individuals that can go to their head. And that is because they don't keep in mind that it is the Spirit of the Lord actually working through them. And it's not necessarily you as the individual, but rather the Spirit of the Lord that's working through you to make those different points and to you know, bring out that information and give such examples and so on and so forth, right? Because we speak as the Spirit of the Lord gives us utterance, and the points that we make really is the word of the Lord. And if you wanna take an example, or you wanna take a real life object as an example, you can take a look at an artist and and their instrument. Now, we would be the instruments of the Lord. So the artist has a microphone, right? If they're on stage and they're singing through it, or they have a guitar, or they have a piano, or they have whatever it is that they're using. But what is the actual point of the microphone? The microphone doesn't get credit. When you go to a Drake concert, okay, at the end of the day, the mic that Drake uses does not become popular. The mic doesn't get the credit for the concert. Drake, the one using the mic, the one whose words or whose voice is being amplified by the microphone, is the one that actually gets the credit. Okay? Likewise, you take like Mozart, for example. People do not credit Mozart's piano. They credit him. He was the one playing the piano. So the piano really is not, because he could take another piano and still play as good. You know, or this famous artist can get another microphone and still sing as good. So when you in this truth, and you got to understand, it works that way, that it's the Spirit of the Lord. He can take any vessel, because that's what we are. We're vessels. But the Lord can take any vessel and utilize that vessel to bring out this truth and make those points and edify. Okay? And that's why we have to have a constant flow of the Spirit from Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai in order to maintain that level that we have now and to grow. It's a constant nourishment that we need in order to stay this way. And a perfect example is, take an individual that, you know, the Spirit is on them, they're growing, they're abounding, you know, they're going into different things, revelation, so on and so forth. And then when the Lord takes the Spirit away from them, how is it that they don't stay that way? They don't stay that way because the actual source that was bringing out that information, that was bringing out that edification, wasn't the individual. It was the Spirit. And now that the Spirit is gone, you see that the individual is nothing but a shell. It's like the Spirit and the body. When the Spirit leaves the body is just a body. It's just a shell. It doesn't do anything. Now, although the actions that you may see when you think of an individual, your mom, your woman, your friend, your brother, when you think about them, you think about their, you know, you visualize their body, you visualize their face, you visualize their hands, you know, their voice. But all of those things are controlled by the Spirit that is within them. So they're not their actual body, they're really their spirit. And once their spirit leaves, their body is just a shell. It's not the same as it was. So it's the same thing here. And it's always important to keep that in mind so that we don't get high-minded in thinking that it's us. Because just as easily as it was given to us, the Lord can take it away from us. And once he takes it away from us, we realize, damn, we really ain't shit. So now with that being said, I'm going to start off with the book of Psalms, chapter 75, verse 5. And Lord's willing, you know, it'll be a, a pretty straight to the point video. It's like every time we say that, the Lord does the opposite of it. But, you know, it's all the will of the Lord anyway, right? The spirit is like the wind, you know. All right, so Psalm 75 and 5, it says, lift not up your horn on high. Okay, which horn, you know, in essence represents power. Okay, but it says, lift not up your horn on high, speak not with a stiff neck. And you have some people that can have a stiff neck, as in being hard-headed or disobedient, but also you have some that, you know, do it in pride. Okay, and it's going to tell you why. Verse 7, verse 6, it says, for promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south, but God is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another. So when you get raised up, even in that saying alone, when you get you don't raise yourself up. Yeah, what did Yahushua say? He said, which of you by taking thought can add 1 cubit to your own height? None. So why are you, you know, why are you stressed about all these other things? Because you ultimately don't really have control. We don't raise ourselves up. The Lord does that. We don't bring ourselves down. The Lord does that. Okay? It's not up to us. Let me make sure my phone is not overheating. All right, it's not up to us. So as is being said here in the book of Psalms, promotion doesn't come from the west or the east. It comes from the Lord. He's the one who sets you up and then brings you down. It is through the Lord's Spirit that we are able to do the things that we do. And it's always, and that's why we always give credit and praise to Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai. You know, now, like I said, somebody might see you, they might try to give you accolades and this, that, and the third, but you understand that it's not really you. And because you know how you truly are. Each and every one of us knows we are a different person when the Spirit is on us versus when we're just chilling regular. And when I say a different person, I don't mean that, you know, you're a complete nigga, and then the Spirit jumps on you, become a holy man, then you go back to being a nigga. What I mean is you're more chill, you're more lax, you know, you're just you. But then when the Spirit is on you, there's a certain energy, right? And there's a certain countenance and demeanor and you know, that you exercise because the Spirit of the Lord is on you, right? So you understand that the things you say, and you know it's the Spirit of the Lord, because we don't premeditate, write down every single word that you're gonna say and just read off of a sheet of paper. Every single time when you do these lessons, I mean, you can even have the lesson planned. All right, I'm gonna go into this precept, then this precept, and I'm gonna use this to back it up, and then this precept, and then this precept, and make this point here, this point here. But guess what? It is the Spirit that takes all of that information and then connects it. How many times do you have a precept lined up and then you end up going in a different order than you had already set it up to be? Or you end up going in a different direction? Like Apostle Tahar, sometimes he'll say, you know, I'm a little over the place, but that's all right, because you got lessons within lessons. So the title may say one thing, and you may start going in that direction, but the Spirit might lead you deeper into another direction, and then you try to bring it back. And sometimes you might need to alter the title because you thought you were going to go in one direction, but the Spirit leads you in another, because it's all the Lord. We are just vessels. And we should be honored that we are righteous vessels, but never make the mistake of trying to take the credit from the Lord and give it to yourself. That is where you are in deep trouble. Okay? Never, ever, ever try to discredit the Lord. Never, ever, ever try to take the credit for yourself, because the Lord will definitely see you for that. Okay? The Lord will see you for that. So moving on, the next precept is in the book of John. This is the book of John, chapter 3, verse 27. It says, John answered and said, a man can receive nothing except it be given him from heaven. You see that? A man can receive nothing except it be given him from heaven. So everything we have now was given to us by the Lord. The scriptures tell you that faith is a gift from the Lord. So we have been gifted with this. So if we walk around with the mindset as though this is us and that we are just like this, that's not the case, right? Because what happens when the Lord takes away the gift of faith? What happens when the Lord takes away the gift of interpretation, of breaking down scriptures, of doing all of these things? Then what? Then you realize, no, it wasn't of you. There was a spirit that was carrying you, that was making you do this. That is why, time and time again, you will see individuals that for a period of time, they're super deep, they're going into this, they're going into that, they're going into this. But then when the Spirit of the Lord leaves them, you're like, wait, this is the same individual? This is the guy. What? Just years ago he was saying this, he was doing this. Look, I was learning. I was getting edified from what he was saying, and now look at where he's at. So what changed? The spirit that was making him do those things is off of him. Look at King Saul. When you read the story of King Saul, in the beginning he was humble. He was righteous. But King Saul is still King Saul, still the same man. So was it the man that was righteous? Or was it the spirit that made the man righteous? Because the same spirit that made him righteous, or the same being, which is Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, is the same one that put an evil spirit on him. You know? And turned him basically into a demon. So guess what? It was the same man, King Saul, but based on the spirit the Lord put on him, he behaved a certain way. Going to show you that it ain't really up to you. All right? It is not up to you. And that's why you cannot, get proud as though it is. Because the Lord can just as easily take it away from you. That's why you pray that the Lord, what did King David pray in Psalms 51? Cast me not away from your holy presence, and take not thy spirit away from me. Because he understood that if the Spirit of the Lord was taken away from him, he wouldn't be able to do the things that he did. He wouldn't even be able to think in the same way that he thought before. And it wouldn't be up to him. And that's a scary thing. All right, now real quick, I want to get this precept here because I'm also taking a look at the Apostle Paul. You may say this, right? Look at all the great works that the Apostle Paul did, right? He did all these great works. He was given all these great revelations. But why then did the Apostle Paul turn around and make this statement here in Romans 7:24? It says, "O wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from the body of this death?" Wait a minute. Oh, wretched man that I am. But look at all the things that you're doing. Look at all the things that you said you were suffering. You went through this, beaten thrice. You got stoned to death, came back, and still continued doing the work. You got some jigs. Oh, no, I'm all right. I'm good. No, I'm okay. All right. But you got stoned to death, shipwrecked, went through sorrow, tears, being in bond, being whipped. All of these different things. But and you did it all for the Lord. But wait, you turned around and called yourself a wretched man. Why? Because the Apostle Paul understood that he himself is not the one doing these things. It is the Spirit of the Lord that is upon him to do those things. But when it came to himself as a man, he knew who he was. He knew the things that he had done. He knew the things that were only between him and the Lord. And that's why he said that he was a wretched man, because you wouldn't be able to see the things that he did. Because, you know yourself better than somebody else. You know what manner of person you are. You know what things that you've done. You know what you did. Inside joke. But you know what manner of person that you are. And that's why whenever, when you deal with some of these scriptures, the prophets of old, a lot of them were very humble because they knew the kind of people that they were. Not saying that they were wicked, but they knew the things that they had done. So for the Spirit of the Lord, being as holy as the Lord is, to come to them, to work with them, they felt unworthy. Why didn't they just get up? Yeah, well, I mean, I'm the one who's gonna be doing all this anyway, so that's all right. I was waiting for you. It's about time. You were a couple minutes late, but that's okay. You can still come see me anyway. No, they felt unworthy because the Lord, they were being called to do a holy job to serve the Lord, and they were like, but Lord, like, why me? You know, I'm not the, I'm not the sharpest tool in the box or in the shed, or however that saying is. You know, I'm not the cleanest napkin in the kitchen. Isaiah said that all our righteousness is as a filthy rag. But when you understand through the Spirit that the Lord is like, I'm not here because of your righteousness. I'm here because I'm using you as a vessel to do my work. It ain't you doing it. I'm using you. So I mean, be honored in that. Just put it like that. All right. Let me see. I think brothers put some precepts on here. Yeah, it's a good one. This is GMS Truth Be Told 144. 1 Corinthians 4:6. And these things, brethren, I have in a figure transferred to myself and to Apollos for your sakes, that ye might learn in us not to think of men above that which is written, that no one of you be puffed up for one against another. Exactly. And that's one thing you always want to, you have to remember this to keep you humble, that it's not of me. Anything that I do is not of me, it's the Spirit of the Lord. So if somebody says something to you deep down inside, you should know that, damn, Lord, like, because of you, because of the Spirit you put on me, because of the mindset you put into my head, I'm able to do these different things. And King David always did that. He always gave credit to the Lord. He always went to the Lord because he understood. Why did he always seek counsel of the Lord before doing anything? Because he understood that everything that he did, everything he was successful at, came from the Lord. So in order to continue being successful, he had to go back to the source. That's why you always pray. That's why you always, seek the Lord. You beseech the Lord, because everything you do is by the will of the Lord. So if you want to continue being able to do the things you do, you got to make sure you plugged into the source. You got a wire, you got the outlet, and then you got the phone. The phone, if the phone was so good by itself, it wouldn't need the charger, and it wouldn't need the electricity from the outlet. And the phone might think it's some shit until it's the battery percentage is on 2%. Now you in a rush. Where my charger at? Oh shit, I gotta plug it. Oh damn it. Now you remember that you need the source, right? When you start running low on them fumes, when you start running on fumes and you're running low on juice, now you're looking for the charger. Now you want the source. But when you was at 100% and you unplug the phone, yeah, you all good. I don't need no charger. I'm all right. I don't need the Lord. I'm good. I'm on a high road. I'm on my high horse. But then when you hit an all-time low, that's when then the humility sets in nicely. And now, oh, Lord, oh my God, and I'm in a situation. Oh Lord, it's me again. Oh man. Anyway, let me finish this here. Let's see. Ephesians 3:8, it says, "Unto me," Slaki, I start at verse 7. "Wherefore I was made a minister according to the gift of the grace of God given unto me by the effectual working of his power. Unto me, who am less than the least of all saints." Wait a minute, hold up. But why would you say that, Apostle Paul? What do you mean? The least of all saints? But look at the things you were doing, though. Right? It says, "Is this grace given that I should preach among the Gentiles, which are Israelite foreigners," the ones that he was going for, okay? It says the unsearchable riches of Mashiach, right? Because he did actually have to go to the different lands of where you would have Gentiles dwelling there as well, but he was there for the Israelite foreigners, the Israelites that were there, okay? But why would the Apostle Paul say that about himself? Why didn't he turn around and say, well, look at all the knowledge that the Lord gave me. I'm a super deep man. I'm a super Israelite. You come to me, you got to come correct. Because he understood that there is a source from which he gained all those revelations. He gained the ability to do the things that he did. And he knew that if it was of himself, whenever he said that, he was saying, look, if it came to just me, if the Spirit was not on me, it was just me, I'm a wretched man. I'm the least of the least. So don't look at me as though I'm something. The only reason I'm able to do all of these things is because there's a Spirit of the Lord upon me. I'm getting fed by the source. This ain't of me. The real me is a piece of ish. But the Lord, when you understand that, okay, the Lord would like to work with you more, because the Lord knows that you understand that the power is not from you, it's from him. And in doing so, you will always give the credit to the Lord. So now moving on, I read that in Romans. So I have one more precept in here, okay, which will also tie into the point in the book of Sirach, chapter 39, verse 1. It says, but he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient, and be occupied in prophecies. And that's the thing too. It's like it's a hey, that's a spirit 144. It's a test in itself, right? Because when everybody that the Lord gives knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to, there's a test in that. Every time you level up, or you gain a new level of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, there's a test to it, which is with great power comes great responsibility, right? So when you gain this new knowledge, there's some people that they let it go to their head, and then they can't retain that information because they start acting proud. As the scriptures say, you have knowledge puffeth up, and you have to guard against pride. So they start to gain this information, and then they fail the test, which is, okay, now that you have this, how are you gonna move? Now that you've gotten a taste of this, how are you gonna operate with it? And so more often than none, you have individuals that for a minute they shoot up, they shoot up to a certain level, and then they drop, because when they got to that level, they couldn't maintain it, and that's why the Lord gives you, it said, the scriptures say, has thou found honey, eat so much as is sufficient for thee, right? So you got to go little by little, increment by increment, increment by increment. When you look at, for example, the elders and apostles, right? The elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and you look at the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding the Lord blessed them with, that didn't come overnight. Even though they're very, sharp and on point, it didn't come overnight. Now, why didn't the Lord bless them with all those revelations? Why didn't he do that overnight? Why wasn't it that the second Apostle Tahar walked into the school, that the Lord didn't give him every single revelation he has now? Because that's a dangerous thing. Okay, that's a dangerous thing. That would have been like a wisdom overload. And when you have a wisdom overload, then you have a system overload, and then the system crashes because it's too much at once. It's like trying to damn near put the whole bowl or the whole bottle of milk inside of your child's mouth at the same. No, why do you have spoons? So you can scoop, you can consume, you can chew, and then when you're done, you swallow, then you go for another one. Imagine you were trying to eat, and somebody takes a ladle, and they just keep shut. Like, before you even finish chewing, they open your mouth, then they put another scoop, then another scoop, then another scoop. What's gonna happen? You're gonna choke. You can't chew. It's gonna be too much. And being that this knowledge is likened unto food, the Lord gives you spoonfuls, right, in increments, and over time it all accumulates. Okay, it would experience and all of these things. But the Lord is not going to give it to you overnight, because that's a dangerous thing. You shouldn't, trust me, man, you ain't going to want all that information overnight. It's going to be too much for you. It may not be too much to contain, even though your brain, I mean, it will, because your brain can't just process all that at once. But how you're going to behave, because you're going to go literally from 0 to 100. And the problem with that is, if you go from 0 to 100, you miss that 10, that 20